The remnants of Hurricane Ida battered the Northeast on Wednesday night and into the early hours of Thursday with high winds, and you see that dangerous flooding. It unfortunately resulted in over 40 deaths in the Northeast alone, and more than 100,000 people are without power in New York. Joining us now is New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. Welcome back to GMA3, Senator Gillibrand. We're very happy to have you on the show, and I know you were actually in New York City on Wednesday night when the remnants of Ida came through. Tell us what your experience was like.
So I was flying into JFK from the West Coast, and we were supposed to land around 8:30 p.m., but our flight was diverted to Syracuse, where we landed. And then we sat on the runway for about 4 hours and finally landed in New York at about 2:30 in the morning. On our ride into the city, I saw between 30 and 40 abandoned cars, all across different highways. We had to change our route 3 times because roads were flooded. It looked like a scene from one of those apocalypse movies like The Day After Tomorrow, or it looked like Escape from New York. Like, it really was eerie and scary and frightening, and I can't imagine the fear that ran through so many communities in New York that had to endure massive flooding.
So what can be done about it in terms of legislation? Is there something that Congress can do to step up to make the changes needed so that we can be proactive with these types of emergencies versus reactive?
So we need long-term strategies and short-term strategies. Short-term is build resiliency. And so I have legislation in the Build Back Better bill that Senator Schumer and I worked on to create enormous amounts of resources for resilient infrastructure to make sure our tunnels can withstand these kinds of storms. But longer term, we have to address global climate change. And so many of the ideas that we put forth over the last few years through the Green New Deal of really changing how we consume energy, making sure we have energy efficiency, making sure we can change the outcome of what's happening.
Many people are calling this a wake-up call for sure. Something else that I want to touch on, a big headline from this week. Late Wednesday night, the Supreme Court decided not to block those restrictive new Texas abortion law, which halts abortions after just 6 weeks. And I want to read you your tweet. You said, reproductive rights are human rights. We must pass the Women's Health Protection Act. What is the likelihood that that is actually going to happen?
So I don't think this is a reform that will be supported by many Republicans. So it is the kind of reform you would need to put in place with largely Democratic votes and maybe a couple of Republicans. What's happened in Texas is unconscionable. They are not only deputizing citizens to be able to be vigilantes against anyone who seeks an abortion or anyone who helps someone who's seeking abortion, whether it's an OBGYN doctor, whether it's a friend who drives someone to a clinic, whether it's an advisor or counselor. It's outrageous that you're not only deputizing and giving universal standing to anyone to file these civil suits, but also giving them a bounty, a reward. I think Sonia Sotomayor's dissent is among her strongest ever, and I think she lays bare that this is an absolutely a dereliction of duty to protect constitutional rights, to respect the rule of law, and to respect constitutional precedent.
Yeah, 6 weeks and no exceptions, not even for rape or incest. New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, we really appreciate it. We know you're a busy woman, so thank you so much for your time and for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.